power. So we're just at a pull-off here in Tennessee right now. Okay, it's 12:30, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. We will need to do a roll call vote on everything because I am doing this virtually. First of all, we have an approval. Well, is Mike there? Mike Metzger?
Yes.
Yes, so I need to read it since oath of office.
Yes,
All right,
please.
please stand and raise your right hand. Okay, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mike Metzger,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Indiana,
and the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially discharge
partially discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Kosciuszko County Redevelopment Commission
of Kosciuszko County Redevelopment Commission
according to the law
according to the law
and to the best of my skill and ability.
and to the best of my skill and ability.
All right, thank you.
Welcome back, Mike.
Hi, Joni.
Hi. Okay, so we'll start our business now since Mike has been sworn in. First item of business is to approve the minutes from the March 14th meeting. And Doug, you had a correction on that. That correction, I believe, has been made.
It has been made, yep, so there's no edits needed that I'm aware of.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll second.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, and I'll start. Aye, Joni Truex.
I, Dan Tystrop.
I, Doug Haynes.
I, Jan Orban.
I, Mike Metzger.
Okay. Very good, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the Marsh County Road 1300 North project update. Is Crystal there?
Hello, Crystal Welsh, Marsh, 303 River Race Drive in Goshen. Thank you all for having me today and bearing with me at the last meeting. I was trying to be a chauffeur and a caretaker all at once, and it was a trip. But anyway, so 1300 North, our last meeting, I did provide just a brief update progress report as of May 1st. I think you all had that in your packet. Really providing some of the background information we talked about at our last steering committee. Where we are now is we've been looking at conceptual future land use layouts. Again, starting from mapping the existing land use, looking at the future land use map as proposed in the current comprehensive plan, and then looking more specifically at some growth rate analysis based on county and area development over the last 20 years or so, to try to come up with a rationale for why we would want to make changes to the future land use map, first of all, because that was a county-wide process, and want to make sure that we aren't just, willy-nilly making changes, that we have justification for the changes we're going to be recommending. So we've started working on that. We provided a potential future land use map to the steering committee. We had a lot of really good discussion about that. They gave us some suggestions on how to modify that. And so we've taken that piece, and now we're looking at utilities, including sewer and water possibilities, as well as talking to both the Elkhart County and the Kosciuszko County Highway Department, because roads and utilities are going to be very important for recommendations on how we would propose future land use to be developed. And so those conversations have helped us kind of organize and change around those land use. And so we've come up with yet again another modified version that we'd like to take to the steering committee the last week in May. So after the meeting today, I wanted to give a brief update to the steering committee that I met with you today and request dates and times that would work for them, either the very last week of May or the first couple days of June, to have our next steering committee meeting. And the result of that meeting, we're planning to have the proposed future land use development strategy that would indicate new commercial, residential, and industrial land, as well as agricultural preservation areas, as well as identifying a specific location in which we would do a more detailed analysis and come up with a conceptual layout. And that would be the last phase of the project. John Lynn, who is one of our co-owners and principal, will be managing that subdivision process for us. And he's 30-plus years of subdivision development, so we know he'll do a good job for you. So that would then take us through the end of the project. So we would be back to your July meeting, hopefully with a very, very good draft for discussion. And then hopefully release to the group. But there's a few more interviews we'd like to do. I have reached out to NIPSCO because during our conversations with CTB particularly, but also some of the other, Pollywood I spoke with, they said their electrical problems are taken care of, but CTB, particularly in the Milford area, still is having some real supply issues. And so we want to talk with NIPSCO on their long-range plans for current services, and then to ensure that they could feed the new development that would potentially be proposed in this new plan. So having them in the loop is really important. We have had ongoing conversations with the utility departments for both towns, as well as Wessler Engineering, who is doing the overall kind of regional water district analysis. Hope to be meeting with the new KEDCO leader in the next couple weeks to get some insight from them on what they see and use them as a resource on thoughts, particularly in the economic development areas, in the industrial recommendations we might be coming forward with. So it's kind of where we are. If there's any questions, either of you, Doug or Jan, want to add anything about the process so far?
No, I don't. I think you did a good job covering it, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's an interesting process to go through and obviously very comprehensive and, but no, I appreciate the update very much. Anybody else?
Crystal, I have a question, Crystal.
Yep.
Once this proposed package is done and approved, then give me some idea of how long, like if we waited a year, 2 years, how outdated would that be? Or is this something that is time sensitive instantly?
Not necessarily time sensitive. Some of our conversation has been a 20-year cycle. That is consistent with your comprehensive plan. There is some question whether it should be included as an amendment to your comprehensive plan. Don't know if that's something you want to do officially, because it will be a slightly different land use map than what you currently have. So you can do that locally just by adopting it as the Redevelopment Commission. But there may be some reason, if you like it, first of all, if it's a report that you feel comfortable and can stand behind, then it might make some sense to officially incorporate that into your comprehensive plan as an amendment or a special plan. We can talk to Matt about what he thinks about that process. The larger companies that I have spoken with, they seem that their next 5 years that's kind of their strategic plan timeline. And they feel comfortable with what they've got for the next 5 years. So that said, if there were major infrastructure projects that needed to happen, we know there's some potentially proposed improvements along 1300 that nobody at this point in time is desperate, I guess is the question. Now the data, obviously, Matt and I we had a conversation before this meeting. The data we're using is a combination of countywide data, then we're trying to massage it to look specifically at our study area. And the smaller you go, the less accurate that data becomes. And so all of our recommendations will be a range. a range of housing, a range of potential new industrial businesses, a range of acreages that you might need. So hopefully it doesn't become, outdated quickly, that there's good information there, but data's only as good as the data collected. And then again, we know what ESRI does, that's the people who run all the mapping software in the world, all the GIS is generally ESRI related. They take that data, which again is self-reported most of the time, either through census or through business reporting. And then what they'll do is they'll just cookie cutter our shape down on it. So they aren't ground truthing the fact that, this business is directly in or out. So it's always as you get smaller a little bit. And so that's why we're trying to use multiple data sources. So we've tried to use local data sources with our interviews with the businesses. We've used local building permit data. We've used the countywide data. We've used the ESRI data. So we're trying to make sure that, again, not one source is the end-all be-all, but that they are all kind of working in cooperation so that we have a nice understanding of what we have available to us. Whether it's 0.5 different than what actual is, there's some flexibility in the level of, detail in that data. So that was a long answer to a fairly short question.
Well, thank you.
We think, again, the horizon on this project is 20 years. And so when you see some of the recommendations, understand that we're looking at that 20-year cycle.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you for joining us. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today.
All righty,
Thanks, Crystal.
thanks.
Thanks.
All right, next up, we have Petco update. Susie?
Hello, Crystal.
Hello.
I join you in saying I can't wait for the new KEDCO director to come on board. Her official start date is June 10. She will be she'll be in Warsaw in May for some family events, and then we'll also get a chance to see her. So I've got a progress report for you, and okay. I think this is enough of them. I'm gonna take one, pass them on down. We have been busy, even though we have been an official CEO. Greg Fitzloff and I have been serving as the interim CEO since January 1. We have been, our staff has gotten leaner in the last 3 months. Our grant person is no longer with us. We lost 2 of our program project directors. And those were decisions that the board made, fully supported by both Greg and I. We are still looking at initiatives on entrepreneurship, housing, talent recruitment and retention, business development, placemaking. So the projects that Greg Fitzloff has now moved into project management effective April 1, and he has been working on the LSC project as well as other projects in our community. We've got a close working relationship with Northeast Regional Partnership on business site development, and our placemaking work included the community-centered economic inclusion. It was a study that looked at downtown Warsaw, but the county funded a large portion of the parking garage study. We participated in other studies, including the 1300 North study, and I've got a question. So that meeting that's coming up in late May, early June, who convenes that? Okay, all right. There was collaboration on the US 30 Innovation District master planning, and that report has been submitted to the commissioners. I think Carrie has that. So I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. Other than that, to say looking forward to June.
You were asking Susie about the next meeting that Krista will convene. Greg attended the last meeting.
And he will continue.
Okay, although he's on a extended vacation, isn't he?
He'll be back.
He'll be back in time for the next, okay, okay.
And if he can't, somebody will.
Okay, that's where I was going. Thanks. Can you tell us any more about the new executive director?
Her name is Peggy Friday. She is coming from Rochelle, Illinois. You must have missed the press release, Doug.
Yes.
Okay, well, I thought everybody, like, you didn't hear the big cheer coming up.
Must have had my office door
Peggy is
closed.
highly talented. She comes with a lot of experience. She ran a chamber, and she has been doing economic development, specifically industrial site development. Is that the right thing, Dan? So she has family in the area, and this was, she's really excited that she's coming this way.
I did read the press release, by the way. I just wanted to hear from you what,
Okay. To see if it was right, to see if I read the press release, Doug. You were fact checking me.
no.
Thank you.
no, but I didn't realize that she had family in the area.
Yeah, she has family near
That's
here, and we're trying to find a home for her. She is looking for 5 acres near Leesburg.
Oh,
So is 50,000 other people.
Yeah.
We'll put her on the list.
Okay. Yeah, we're really excited that she's coming.
Good.
And the KEDCO team has been doing an outstanding job. Katie is doing our marketing and communications, and she does targeted, so when you may not see every news release that comes out because you may not be on the list for the specific news that's coming out, but she's doing a great job. Dawn Wilkinson is our operations manager, and she is the administrative support as well as managing the office space, and she coordinates all the financial reporting and the process of finances. We have Whittle Accounting Services as our CFO, but we have to have somebody on the ground here that is taking care of making sure that invoices get to where they're supposed to be. And she's doing an amazing job, as is Whittle Accounting. We had a marketplace in the lower level of the KEDCO office. We terminated that. It was a really good experience of helping small retail entrepreneurs showcase their wares. We're still offering that entrepreneur service to those people, but we're not housing them in a market environment. Our entrepreneurship work is really going well. We're helping with plug and play on as we can. They're pretty self-contained, but we're offering support. And we have an entrepreneur coach that comes here, makes appointments, but she also shows up for people that want to walk in the door and get her services. And that's being supported out of the Northeast Regional Partnership and the NIC. So good stuff happening, better stuff on the way.
and then what does the transition look like when she comes on board as it relates to you and Greg then?
Good question.
Oh,
Good question. Before January 24, I was serving as something called a leadership partner, and that may continue. It's at the pleasure of the board and Peggy. Greg, I imagine, will continue on some projects, but Peggy's expertise is going to be deployed the most efficiently and effectively. Was that a fair comment, Jan? Okay.
We don't know. The short answer.
Okay,
We're not
okay.
sure.
yeah, okay.
It depends on, there's a lot going on, and it's going to take her a little while to get up to speed, but
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, I wish I had realized 15 years ago how critical economic development is to our community and been more involved in it. My experience at the Community Foundation is far different than what economic development is, but man, everybody ought to be aware of how critical this is. And what you do today how that affects our community 20 years from now, 50 years from now. And, they're not making more land, right? So we need to be real careful how we deploy things. And then how that impacts schools, right? Because as growth happens, that can put a strain on certain schools. We'd like to see more growth south of Warsaw. Okay, I'm done. Hi, Joni.
Hi, Susie. Does anybody have any questions for Susie?
Thanks for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. All right, next up is I need a motion to approve a Baker Tilly agreement. What this is basically is just agreeing that we will utilize Baker Tilly services at a rate. They will bill us for any services that we ask them to perform on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission. That's all it is. But I need a motion and a second to approve my signing that agreement.
So
with
Joni,
Baker Tilly.
is this just memorializing the standing agreement, or is this a change to the current?
No, it's just memorializing the standard agreement that we've had with them for several years.
Okay.
And I think Adam, is Adam there?
Yes.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Okay. Adam had a chance to review it too, so.
Yeah, I think part of it was just also just informing of the realignment in that
Within-
second paragraph with
yeah.
regard to that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, you made a motion.
Yep.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Jan. All right, so we have a motion by Dan Thystrup, a second by Jan Orban, authorizing me to sign the agreement with Baker Tilly. All those in favor, we'll do a roll call vote again. Joni Truax, aye.
Dan Tystrup, aye.
Doug Haynes, aye.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
Thank you. All right. Moving on, we have, every year we're required to do a TIF excess AV certification letter that goes to the auditor, and then I'm sure it's filed with the state. And that basically is just sharing that we do not have any TIF excess to report for use by any of the outlying units, or that's my understanding. Adam, did you want to expand on that?
No.
Okay. So in that case, I would need a motion to approve the form that just basically says we do not have any TIF excess at this time.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Doug. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, motion by Doug Haynes, seconded by Dan Thystrup to allow me to sign the TIF excess AV certification letter. All those in favor, we'll do a roll call vote. Joni Truax, aye.
Dan Tystrup, aye.
Doug Haynes, aye.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, then we're continuing on doing our TIF reviews, which according to IC 36-7-25-8, we're required to do this every year. And the first TIF review is on 30 West. And basically, we look at the amount that we have in that TIF and that what we're expecting to collect. And if we have a long-term plan for each allocation area. 30 West right now, there has been some improvements made in Atwood and some businesses started, at least two recently. So those are good signs. And then the LRS, that property is also, they're looking for tenants. And that's also out there. So I really don't know that we have, the long range plan is to support any further development out there that makes good use of the TIF dollars, and that would be beneficial to that TIF area or any closely located areas. So in other words, it would have to be touching the TIF or very close to and be benefited by.
Joni,
Does anyone?
could I ask, just
Yes.
for a brief interruption on this? So you're not here, so you don't have the notebooks that Rhonda and her team put together.
No.
But Rhonda, thank you, first of all, but would you quickly explain to the redevelopment commission that's here what's in front of them? Because as we're talking about the tips, it'd be really helpful for them to be able to.
Yeah, so I put like the ordinance from back in 1997 there. It talks about the board members, so you can have that.
I can't hear Rhonda at all.
Said I put the IC code or the ordinance that you had passed back in 97 pertaining to the members, how the members were selected. And then maps of each TIF are in there. And the balances of each TIF are in there. And then the report that Joni had given to the council is also in there for this year.
And are there TIF maps?
Yes. Yeah, there's maps for each TIF.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you and Alyssa for preparing those and providing those. I think they'll be very beneficial to us. Okay. I don't believe we have to approve each of these. I think it's just a report. Adam, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's a presentation, Joni.
Yeah.
All those information and those items need to be presented.
Okay. Okay, so moving on, the co-op TIF. This one is the one located by Mentone, and long-range term plan for that allocation area is basically there may be some upcoming development in that area. I know some people are working on some things. They're not ready to really talk about them, and they have not asked for help, but there is a possibility in that corridor that there could be some development. So I would say that the long-term plan is to see if there is any development needed to be supported by the TIF dollars in that area. Then the next one is Dreyfus. And Dreyfus, we've partnered with, I think, very well in the past and will continue to do so in the future. And the long-term plan is to continue to support Dreyfus in their ability to create opportunities for them and the county with the soybeans and the byproducts of the soybeans. And I believe that they have done a really good job of figuring out how to use every single piece, part, and particle of the soybean, and we'll continue to support them in that endeavor. All right, the next, we're through that part of the agenda. The next thing is the 30 West TIF discussion. It's basically an update, and I will need a motion when I'm finished, but we have had a little bit of a change that we were not aware of. Everything that we did on the 30, on that, we had labeled it as core, C period, O period, R period, E period. We really and truly need to name it and label it Strive, STRIVE properties. So core is owned by the same people, I think there's 3 of them, that own Strive properties. The confusion was they originally brought it to us as core, but it is not. It is being they originally paid some of the bills by Core, but then Strive Properties reimbursed them for those expenditures. And we need a motion to change the name of the agreement and all subsequent actions, which include they did return a new W-9 with Strive Properties, signed the agreement under Strive Properties, but we will make payment of the $30,000 that we committed as an investment. And they have provided invoices that total way more than the $30,000. So first, we need a motion to change the name from Core to Strive Properties.
If I could just add, just real briefly, just for clarification's sake, so Strive Properties is their real estate holding company, as you accurately stated, which is owned by the 3 executive officers of Core. Core Residential will be leasing from Strive Properties out of that location, so Core will be located there, they just don't own the property. And then Core will be moving their fabrication division from their current location also to that location that is owned by Strive. So it really is effectively a name change only, but Core will be operating out of that building. So if that's helpful.
Very.
And I'm still abstaining
Okay.
from this, so.
Did someone make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All right, second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, we have a motion by Jan, a second by Dan to change the name on all correspondence to Strive Properties now and going forward. Do a roll call vote. Joni Truex, aye.
Dan Tystrup, aye.
Doug Haynes in absentia.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, and then I need, Rhonda, are you ready to issue the check for the investment amount?
Yes, so we need just to have somebody sign the claim form.
Okay,
Yes.
so I need a motion to approve signing of the claim form so that that can be paid. I'll be happy to do that when I return next week. So I need a motion.
I'll so move.
Thank you, Dan. I need a second.
Second,
Mike Metzger.
Thank you, Mike. All right. So we have motion by Dan, second by Mike to approve me signing the claim form to pay Strive Properties the $30,000 investment that we all agreed on. Roll call vote, Joni Truex, aye.
Dan Tystrup, aye.
Doug Haynes in absentia.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, next up we have claims. I think that took care of claims. We're still working on the Avon Marsh claim. We need to go, Susie Light and I need to go to the commissioners meeting with Marcia and work that out and get that approved. Next we have, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my screen went away. Okay, back. Operating budget discussion. Following our next meeting, which is July 11th, I would like everyone to set aside an additional hour or hour and a half. Rhonda, is the room available?
It should be after the normal meeting. You want to be an hour longer then?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, make it an hour and a half longer, so
An hour
make
and
it
a
to,
half. Okay.
yeah, okay. And hopefully we won't need to take all that long, but what we want to do and what I would like you to do, hopefully between now and then, is we're going to need to do a budget and a spending plan and come up with an operating budget, all to put into the county budget for 2025. So I would like us all to give some thought to the TIFs that you've been provided all the information for. And we would like to move into an operating budget. Adam Turner's fees and the additional fees that come up from, I want to say Birch's, if that's not the right name, Baker Tilly, and from Adam and others as we work through some of these things, not specifically to a TIF. These are things that we just need to know. We have questions on how a TIF operates, or we need to know how do we expand a TIF, close a TIF, those kind of phone calls and discussions and invoices. We just like to have an operating budget so we don't have to always figure out how to divide all that up. And so we would like to put in a request in the 25 budget for that operating budget for the Redevelopment Commission. And if it is going to a specific TIF, of course, it would still be taken out of those TIF dollars. But these funds are funds that we would like to pull from the general budget to go towards an operating budget. And like to have that discussion at the next meeting.
So Jenny,
anybody
you're
have
talking
any-
about July the 11th, basically from 1:30 to 4 for us?
Yes, please, if we can do that.
Okay.
Okay,
For
All right.
clarification, Joni, will that
Yes.
extra hour and a half, is that, will there be any decisions made? I mean, is that a formal
no,
meeting such?
it is a discussion meeting only.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
There will not be anything no formal action will be taken until the next meeting, which would be in September. Okay. The next thing, everybody, I just wanted to mention in passing, the Redevelopment Commission annual report, you received a copy of that in your binder today. I also gave you an electronic copy before I went before the commissioners and the council to make that presentation, which is required by April 15th every year. That's part of that, the new changes that happened in the House bill. Next up would be an increase to the commission members. So the Redevelopment Commission has had 5 members since its inception. And at this time, we have not only approached, but have received approval from the commissioners pending our minutes reflecting if, in fact, all of the Redevelopment Commission members wish to increase the size of the Redevelopment Commission from 5 members to 7 members, effective January 1st, 2025. So I'm going to open that up for discussion.
You just want discussion about whether we're in favor of it or we think it's a good idea? I think it's.
We're gonna, yes. We'll need a motion and a second and a vote to determine, because the minutes have to reflect that to go back to the commissioners.
Okay.
But prior to that vote, I just wanted anyone who has any opinions on this that wants to state those opinions to do so now.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that we have all realized that all of us sitting here, that there's a fair amount to learn and understand on the Redevelopment Commission, and losing 1 or 2 members could be a significant detriment to the entire Redevelopment Commission. So I believe that the prior discussions, and I agree that adding an additional 2 people really helps to move forward with continued appointments that understand what's going on and can help the Redevelopment Commission move forward.
A note along with that, and I would agree completely with what Jan just said, is and I don't know if this is a discussion in addition to, but the fact that everyone is serving just 1 year's term, there's also discussion, well, I guess I guess we'll put that on pause, because there was a discussion that was had about trying to stagger, but as of right now, we're still only all just serving 1 term. And I think that's the other reason that the motivation behind that was just because there was a greater risk of losing individuals, because the expectation is that that every member would only serve 1 term. So it puts the commission at risk. So, yeah, so I would echo your comments, Jan, and then I'll stop at that.
And I've given it some thought too, and I agree with Jan.
Dan, I lost you.
The other thing, in reading through the, I'll call it the bylaws, but the county commissioners then would be responsible for appointing 4 of the redevelopment commission members, and then county council would be appointing 3. Is that correct? Rhonda shaking her
Yes.
head. Yeah, okay.
And it cut out when Dan said, I've given this some thought, and that's all I heard.
What else did you say, Dan? She didn't hear what you said after that.
I've given it some thoughts, and I think it's a good idea to add 2 people.
Okay.
Yep.
As far as the 1-year terms, that's the way it was set up.
Yeah.
We would actually need Adam, we would need an opinion if we could even request to change the terms. I think growing it would be the first step. And then maybe next year work on changing the term limits and staggering them.
Yeah, I was getting ahead of myself, and that's where I was going to go, is just if we had the ability to stagger the maturity of the terms, so that we're not all maturing on the same year, but as long as we have just a 1-year term, you can't avoid it.
I don't have the code right in front of me, but I'm happy to look at it and report back. My recollection is that it's an annual appointment, so it's not necessarily like there's not a term. It's an annual appointment by those 2 governmental bodies. So as far as like staggering or making it for longer appointment, I'll have to look at the code.
Yeah.
I had looked at the 5-7 thing. I didn't look at the
Yeah.
term thing, but I don't know that that's something you can change.
What
but I can look.
we read, unless it was an understanding of Baker Tilly, is that it could be up to 3 years. So it's a 1-year appointment with the ability to be up to a 3-year term, and that's where we could stagger.
That was an amendment to the code, Adam,
amendment?
that I found. And it said may,
May, right,
not will, shall, it said may.
right.
So it probably then goes back to what our ordinance says as far as
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, what in that, and I don't have that right in front of me.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know, I'm not going to be there next year, but they agreed to the 7, which I thought was a great step forward.
Yes.
So I think maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. You can all have that discussion next year without me. How's that? Okay. All right. So in that case, I would need, sounds like people are in favor, I would need a motion to approve requesting a change in the original amendment, or an addition to, adding 2 more members so that we have a total of 7 members, 4 appointed by the commissioners, 3 appointed by the council for the Kosciuszko County Redevelopment Commission.
I'll make a motion to approve, I guess we're recommending to the county commissioners that we expand the number of redevelopment commission members from 5 to 7.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. Motion by Doug, second by Jan. All those in favor, and we'll do a roll call vote. Joni Truex, aye.
Dan Teistrup, aye.
Doug Haynes, aye.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
Wonderful. Okay, Rhonda, please make sure that the minutes reflect that and provide the original formulation paperwork,
Right.
so that doesn't have to be reinvented.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, all right, next. Do we have any other business to come before the redevelopment commission?
Joni, there's an invoice from Turner and Valentine that was in our packet. Do we need to do any action with that?
Yes.
We didn't do that, did
I
we?
didn't see it. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Okay, what is I'm sorry, what is the invoice for? Adam?
Yes, so you just had told me that you approved it, but we had to have it in the minutes to pay it. So you just need to do it. You just need to do a motion to pay it.
And Rhonda, that's what that claims thing is, isn't it? I am so sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that was part of it.
Yeah, I will need a motion to approve payment of the invoice from Adam Turner for work for the redevelopment commission.
Make a motion to approve the payment of the invoice from Turner and Valentine Law Firm.
I'll second that.
Motion by Doug, seconded by Dan. We'll do a roll call vote. Joni Truax, aye.
Dan Tystrup, aye.
Doug Haynes, aye.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
All right, thank you very much. Rhonda, I will come in next week and sign the claims.
Okay.
Once in a while.
Do we
Or
do a
did you
roll
need to-
call on the members? Did we do a roll call on the members? We did
Yeah.
on the members? Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
Okay. Rhonda, do you need it before next week?
No, I shouldn't.
Okay, I don't know what your pay dates are,
No,
so
we're good.
we're good?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So our next meeting will be July 11th, and we will, after the regular meeting, then the redevelopment commission members will stay and discuss budgets and spending plans and start working on that. And Adam, you are welcome to stay.
Thank you, Joni.
I knew you'd love that. And our school board member is encouraged to stay also.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So if there is nothing else to come before you, thank you for dealing with virtual meetings.
I'm
I
gonna,
have a college
I'm gonna ask real-
graduation to attend. Yeah.
Joni, I'm going to ask just real quick, just as I don't know, again, if it's in our bylaws or what, but being that you're out of town for a while, is Joni the only authorized commission member that can sign invoices? Do you know, Joni or Rhonda?
No, you could sign them. I know. You're a redevelopment commission officer, so as vice president, you can do that if I'm not there. And the commission is agreeable to that. But since you can wait till next week, I'll just come in and sign them, unless you want to sign them.
Well, no, I mean, I'm here, we're here, so we could sign just to get, some of these invoices are past 30 days.
Yeah, we could
so-
have him sign the claim so we can get this drive properties check sent out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So if that's.
Oh, he has a conflict. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I won't sign Strive, but I didn't know, Abbott Marsh, well, you're going to go before the county
That'll have to
commissioners on
wait,
that, so
yeah.
it'd just be Valentine Turner.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Adam, how quickly do you need your money?
I'm all right.
Okay. All right, then we'll let him wait since, yeah, I just thought about the conflict too. So, okay, that's fine. I will come in there on Monday and sign everything.
Okay,
All right.
good.
Okay, anything else?
I think we're good.
Okay, I first want to thank my husband for sitting here patiently watching all the traffic go by. And I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you, Dan. Second by Doug. Roll call vote. Joni Truax, aye.
Dan Tystrup, aye.
Doug Haynes, aye.
Jan Orban, aye.
Mike Metzger, aye.
Thank you all very, very much. Have a great week.
Thanks, Joni. Drive safe.
Thank you.
Thank-
Recording
All right.
stopped.
Bye.